So we wanted to share with you two of the PSAs that we've produced using the results from Gina's study. And I think you'll hear in the copy of it, like with the messages that Gina talked about, and pick up on some of, you'll see the work in action. I want to point out these are two that we've done so far for whiter, more rural communities. One specific to the coastal communities where fishing is a major industry, and one toward more central and eastern Oregon. We also have PSAs that are targeted for Native Americans, Latinos, and African Americans, and those will be on our Vimeo page. So let's watch the rural one first.
I've worked hard my whole life, and I've relied on myself to get things done. So when the COVID-19 vaccines came out, I talked to my doctor and I made my own conclusions. I remember the effect that vaccines had on polio, smallpox, and the measles, not only in the nation but throughout the world. We need to get vaccinated. Let's cross the finish line together.
And now the fisherwoman.
One of the first things that got shut down for me was fishing, and fishing is so deeply entangled in my life, it just seemed unimaginable. So when we think about all of the things that fishing communities have faced, even in the last decade, we know that we do the best when we pull together and take care of one another. That's why we need to get vaccinated for ourselves, our families, and our community. Let's cross the finish line together.
And now I want to share some other ways that the data and information that Gina presented has influenced our programming. So we have a program that was really targeting African American, the Latinx communities, and Native American communities. But coming from Gina's information, which again, we received these results back in January, February, I believe. And again, at that time, people were not talking about in the media or in the press the hesitancy that was happening among largely rural white communities. And so this information was news to us, and it made us realize that we really need to expand our focus and not just concentrate on communities of color, but also white rural communities. And so our peer advocacy program now has a segment devoted to rural white, also Christian, and we're really working with church members and leaders and folks who are from local ranching and farming communities so that they can instill confidence about the vaccines within their own neighborhoods. But we've been doing dozens of COVID-19 vaccine workshops on an as requested basis by employers, schools, community organizations. It's been really impactful and really effective. But the information that we received from Gina was really useful in crafting the content for those presentations. And so we really focus on how the vaccines were developed and monitored for safety. We talk about the demographics of the trials so that people know that folks like them were part of the trials and that the vaccines were not only tested on certain segments of the population. And then we talk about side effects, which seems to be a big concern for folks. And in presenting that information, we've had incredible feedback from folks that it makes them feel much more confident and comfortable about taking the vaccine and ultimately choosing to do so.